a very beautiful Monday morning, and we're excited to be back here on your screens to help you start your week. Indeed, yes, not just your day. We're here to help you start your week on a very beautiful and bright note. On today's episode of Good Morning Abuja, we'll be talking about beautiful things that are existing and happening in our very before, yes, in the city of Abuja. Yes, we'll be talking about fruit arts. I'm sure most of you watching this right now have literally not seen a food art or a fruit tree at an event. So sit back and relax, because we will be bringing to you that type of business in the FCT. Also, we'll be talking about baby photography. I'm sure a lot of us, you know, in the FCT have gone to studios for photo shoots for your newborn babies and all. But do you know the amount of work that goes into that? We'll be having a female photographer talk to us about that line of photography. And also, we will be talking about motherhood and COVID-19, as we will be having a guest who is an educator, a wife, a mother, who has been married for over 20 years and still finds a way to manage the home front with her job and being a pastor. Yes, wow. I told you, we have exciting lineups really for you.
So before we get straight to what we are going to, which is motivation, I really love to ask Cynthia how our weekend was. How was the weekend?
It was fantastic.
Did you miss me? It was what?
It was fantastic.
Anyway, for me, I had to attend a wedding on Saturday.
Lucky
it was really amazing. So I caught the bouquet. The guy threw a bouquet and I caught it.
Wow.
The lady didn't throw a bouquet.
Like I said, new things happen in the FCT every time, so I would not be surprised. My name is Cynthia Benyogo.
My name is Simeon Sunday. Let's go check out this piece of motivation.
And this one is from Miriam Booker, and she's saying, what does fear mean?
A lot of people, they do not go for their dreams because they are scared of failing. And the fear of failure comes from the idea of, oh, you know what, this space, there is nobody there, or people are succeeding, so how sure am I that if I come up with this idea, mine will be better than this person's? Now what you have to understand is that fear that you feel, take it as a sign that you're about to do something great. Because if what you're about to do doesn't scare you, then what you're about to do might not be that great. And you are a person of greatness. Every single person has greatness in them. And sometimes it takes that step to take a risk to actually get to see who you truly are and what your greatness is about. So do not ever feel like, you know what, mine is not good enough or my dreams are not valid. Every person's dreams are valid.
Now you know what fear is. Thank you so much, Miriam Booker, for that one. And now let's go.
All right, now we're moving over to health tips, and we have something interesting for you. Stay tuned and enjoy it.
Health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of illness or infirmity. So when we're talking about mental health, it's an integral part of health, and it talks about the situation where a person is in a state of mental well-being, not just necessarily that the person is unable to do certain things, but that the person is in a state of mental well-being. That's what mental health is, and any absence of that well-being would mean that the state of complete health is not present. Stress could predispose a person to mental illness, and when I say predispose, what that means is that anybody can break down if they're subjected to sufficient stress. For example, if a person is going through something stressful at work just shortly after bereavement, complicated by maybe passing through menopause or just having had a baby, you know, so many sources of stress like that could combine together and predispose the person more to becoming ill. The causes of mental disorder are varied. The commonest one is genes, because our genes determine the integrity of our brains. Our genes even determine our addictions. If you, studies have shown, for example, that Sometimes people, children of alcoholics, even when they never met their alcoholic parents, even when they were taken away to live with parents who do not drink, they end up developing a drinking problem. Yet they were adopted by parents who do not drink. They grew up in a non-drinking home.
This is still Good Morning Abuja. You know, on every episode, we always try to bring you something new, something different, something exciting. And this time around, we'll be talking about fruit art. You know, a lot of people just cut fruits into pieces and just eat. But do you know that there are ways you can actually use fruits to beautify your events or just make it appealing before you you eat it all up? Now we have a guest in the studio. She's one of the pioneers of the fruit art business in the FCT, and this is because you need to see how it works. You just need to see how it works.
Before we get to see the works officially, I had to go on a page, and then I saw what she did with fruits, and I had to ask myself, are these fruits or they're just portraits?
And Simeon was
How
just
do you
saying,
combine
wow,
everything?
wow,
Like, it's
wow.
really, really nice. Anyway, we have Rani or Homina right here. Welcome, Rani.
Thank you very much.
Great to have you.
Thank you for having me.
So let me even ask you this question. Seeing fruit art, how did you even get into this business? And how did you even think about it that you could actually make art out of just mere fruits?
Yes, I know it seems a bit strange, to be honest, as it was for me 4 years ago when I started the business. But naturally, the kind of person I am, I love to be different. I love to stand out, okay? I love for people to see me and go, wow, how does she do that? So when I knew I wanted to toy down the line of entrepreneurship, for sure, I knew I wasn't about to sell shoes and bags. No offense to anybody who does that, but the market's a bit saturated for that. So I had to research and come up with things I could do that was different, okay? So for me, the best way to do that is to search through the international market, because Nigeria is usually like 5 steps behind the rest of the world. As we know, we're developing countries. So outside the country, I just somehow, I don't know, I guess it's fate. It just, something led me to fruits. Just somehow. I can't really put my finger on it, but I do vividly remember the day I couldn't sleep that night, and I was up surfing the internet, and somehow I just came across a page in America. And I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I couldn't just believe what I was seeing.
Just like how Simeon couldn't
With
believe what he was
fruits,
seeing.
No, I
it
couldn't
was.
believe what I saw.
And I got interested, and I started researching and how I could get to do it and how I could learn. And
So
then
how
I went.
did you go about it? By learning through materials online, or you went to school or something? Because what I'm seeing, that craft is amazing.
I mean,
Yeah.
not
You need to
anybody
learn
can just
it.
wake
It
up
is.
You
and
can't
do
just
a
combine
fruit
things
tree.
like that.
Believe me, a lot more goes into it than you see. And yes, to answer your question, I did get trained physically. I had to get trained by people who have learned the arts outside Nigeria, of course. So I had to go get schooled. And it didn't stop there, because once I started the business, I realized that there's actually so much more you can do with fruits than meets the eye. So much more. The versatility of fruits is endless, believe me. So the past 4 years, I've spent it, trying to learn more about it, get trained on many more things about fruits, trying to diversify the fruit business, because I do believe that I will create a conglomerate with the fruit business, because if you do look outside the country, there are businesses, family inherited wealth from the fruit business. It's unbelievable what you can achieve with fruits, believe me.
Okay, so now, you go to events, you set up the fountain, and how do you get the concept of, okay, I want my fruit tree to look like this, I want this fruits to come before this fruit, I don't know, there's a way you just place the fruits and it comes out in a particular shape or form. How do you get the concept?
Well, the thing is, doing this business has taught me that you have to be on your A game with your creativity. Okay, for me personally, I do not like to repeat designs. I love to do something new every single time. If not, it will become a bit, repetitive, and it will bore your audience when they know that every time it's the same thing over and over again. So I appreciate and love clients that let me do what I need to do. There are some clients that ask for repeat designs, and I oblige. But then when I meet a client that's like, I trust you, do what you want, and that's the moment I let everything spiral out of me. You know, I actually do physical drawings.
Oh, you draw first before you create
You know,
them.
I try to, because I have it in my head, and I try to make sense of it all on paper, and I, you know, create. But then, you know, when you want to do the actual work, you know, that's when you realize that all of that drawing, you know, might not really work, because when you're doing it, you realize, okay, it might not work. So during the process, even though I have pre-planned what I'm about to do, during the process, I let my hands guide me.
Wow.
I just let the hands flow, and I let everything just go, and then it comes out. Sometimes I actually end up doing nothing that I had previously planned,
Okay.
you know, and it comes out even more beautiful. But then, you know, it's just a process of creativity. Just trust your instincts and just let it flow. And
So we can
rest
say
is
you're
history.
a fruit architect in your own way.
Fruit artist.
Uh,
Fruit artist.
Okay, so as the CEO of Fruits and Tales, do you get some kind of looks? You know, some people might just feel like, "Ah, she's not a graduate. Why is she doing this kind of business? Why is she working with fruits?" Or even your staff, do they like frustrate your efforts? And like, why is she putting so much effort in making just common fruits look like this? You know, do you get that?
I mean, I'm going to just borrow a language right now, Yoruba. Some people say, onta fruits.
You're selling fruit. That's what it means.
You know,
But then I don't take offense to it, to be honest, because it's all about the Benjamins. It's all about the books. Do you know what I mean? Of course, there are people that are condescending, but to be honest, not just to fruit, to me, because I deal with fruits, to anything. Some people are just naturally that way. They feel they're better than you, you know, because they're paying you to do one thing or the other. But I don't worry. You know, gradually, I'm making my mark. I'm here, aren't I?
I
Yeah,
mean,
so how long does it take you to make, you know, create an art, depending on the form you're trying to build or create? Like,
Yeah.
let's say one of your fruit fountains that you made, how many hours did you have to put in to make that work?
I'm actually glad that you said hours, plural, because it does take a long time. A lot of work, a lot of thoughts, a lot of sweat. Well, not literally sweat, but goes into it. And the minimum is about 6 hours.
wow. That
So
means
if
you
I have to have a
start
wedding and I need a fruit
ahead of
fountain
time.
at my event, and the event was supposed to happen at, say, 11 a.m., you come in at like 5 a.m. and start building, or you build somewhere and bring it to the event
No,
venue.
we build on the spot, so
On the spot.
we have to come on time and get to work. And you know, aside from the fact that I mean, it's aesthetically pleasing, as you can see.
Yes,
so
because
we
it's
like to
something
be
different.
done.
You come to a wedding and you see
Exactly.
that.
Yes,
It's
we
not
like-
something that we see regularly in the FCT, right?
Absolutely, yes. No, at all. It's something that's unique. It's different, which is part of why people are very, you know, inclined to do business with us. So we like to be done maybe like an hour before the event starts. So that way the photographer has enough time to you know, take the pictures, because, you know, unfortunately, the clients might not be able to appreciate the work at that point, because, you know, they're
busy.
up there, maybe if it's a wedding, greeting guests, you know, getting married and all that. So the pictures is where they get to appreciate, when they go, okay, this is what my money went into, and I'm glad I spent this money. I got value for my money. So it's very important to us that we're done. So this is part of the reason why we start really early, so we can be done in time to have it photographed.
Now it brings me to the matter, the costs. Yes, so because see that it looks expensive, especially when you see fruits like that expensive, like grape, you know, like apples,
Everything
being
is just there.
Orange,
So-
yeah.
And I'm sure even before you give your cost, some people are like, it's not just fruits.
and things, you know, if you just cut it and
It's
cut
not
it
just
and put
I
it.
know, absolutely.
So how much does it take to make one of your piece of art?
Well, all I'm just going to say is I agree with you. There are people that say, is it not just fruits? But you did mention, I love that you're very observant. You mentioned grapes, strawberries, and all of those exotic fruits
Very
that we don't really see in Nigeria all the time. They are very expensive because they're imported. And that is the beauty. The idea is the fact that people are getting to eat fruits that they don't ordinarily eat on a normal day. People can walk by to the roadside malam and buy apples and pineapples and all of that. But what we're doing is we're serving you quality. We're serving you value. We're serving
Auntie,
you
how much
things
is the
that-
amount? We
Like
know
on
it's
the
quality.
average.
How much is the amount on the average?
you know, okay, it depends on the number of guests you're serving. Okay, if you're
Okay.
serving 100 guests, you know, it can run into 6 figures.
Wow, that's millions.
Wow.
It-
Okay.
For fruit, oh.
Are you sure?
Let me
Let me
start like
come and
that.
train on that. I can add it to.
Please, point of correction. When I said 6 figures, I meant including the zeros. So thousands, not
Okay,
hundreds of
thousands.
thousands,
Okay.
not millions, please.
Okay.
That's Let's just correct that
I
impression.
believe
No, it's
I
not
was
made of
afraid.
gold.
I was asking myself,
It
how much
doesn't
should I
give you
pay for
eternal
wedding hall?
life. No,
Wedding
no.
hall and
Just
cake.
hundreds of thousands. It
But
can run
let
into
me ask
hundreds
this
of
one quickly
thousands.
before we go. Does this take the place of cake, considering the way the art has been crafted?
Well, it depends on the clients. Have we taken the place of cake? Absolutely. We have.
Wow.
We've had events where guests are walking up to it and staring and like, "Ah, is this cake?" They can't believe it. And the ones that realize it's fruits, they go, "Is it real?" They can't believe it, you know. We have taken the place of cakes, but of course that was a client, a wedding actually. She was all healthy. She didn't even have small chops. She made us make little fruit centerpieces to place on all the tables. You know, so she's very, you know, she's very obsessed with her health, which is amazing and all that. So it can, you know, we make fruit cakes and all, you know, we're able to create whatever you want. We can create a tree, we can create a 3D number, logo, you know.
Can you create me with fruits?
Nothing is impossible.
So
to
at
be honest.
events,
Nothing is
what does
impossible.
it serve as dessert or what appetizers?
Well,
or what?
fruit goes both ways. If you eat it before, then it's an appetizer. If you eat it after meal, then it's dessert. So whichever you want.
And if you eat it in between, it's the full course meal. Full course fruit.
So you're relaxed.
Anyway,
Alright,
thank you
very
so much, Rani,
Rani.
for coming on the show. We really
very
appreciate
welcome.
you.
Thank
Man,
you
your
for having
work
me.
is really amazing.
Thank you. Thank you
I
very much.
owe Cynthia one of such works. You know the event I'm talking about,
Okay,
but I won't mention it
you
on
people are
TV.
here. You are hearing. So I'll remind you. I'll remind you. All right. Thank you very much for coming and
You're
spending time with
welcome.
us. It's really amazing what you do, and we hope that we'll see a lot of this in the SCT. I hope you will not feel like it's competition, though.
The sky is big enough for everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, of course. Anyway, that was Rani we've been talking to. She's the CEO of Fruits and Tales. And I must tell you, this is something beautiful and unique that has come to stay in the FCT. All right, now let's go on. This is still Good Morning Abuja. Now we'll be talking to a pastor, a mother, a wife, an entrepreneur, and an educator. She has been married for over 20 years. And trust me, she has all the major authority to talk about this topic that we have for you today. We'll be talking about home management by mothers, especially during this COVID-19 period. Her name is Reverend Mrs. Franca Atokolo. Good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning, thank you.
I mean, for a lot of people
morning.
watching this program right now, they will not believe that you have been married for
20
over
years.
20 years.
Wow.
I mean,
And you look so young.
you know, so as a wife, as a mother, what have you been doing, to maintain this youngness, this youthfulness,
I'm telling you.
this beauty? What have you been doing? Give me
Well,
just.
Before we get to
okay. Well, I just do the needful. I eat healthy.
Okay.
I ensure that I have enough rest, and then
very important.
I exercise and just I'm peaceful and I'm at peace with myself and with God.
Okay.
That's it.
So you're a lover of children, like you earlier mentioned. But how did you become a lover of children? Is it from, when you gave birth to your first child, or it was just a motherly thing that you've always had before you even got married?
Well, I think the natural instinct was there, as a woman to love children. And yes, I was opportune to get married at the time I did, and I had my children. And I love them because it's in every mom to love their children.
Okay.
Yes.
So now let's talk about home management and the COVID-19 situation. Of course, the lockdown was hectic, not just on, business sectors and everything, but the home front also was hit because everybody had to be indoors together. Unlike when the father goes out, the mother goes out, children goes to school, but all of you are
less stress
in one
because
house.
Fine.
So how was that experience for you, staying at home with the children during that lockdown period?
Okay. While the disease brought an untold suffering to the world at large, it also came along with the lockdown, and the lockdown was like a mixed blessing for me. Yes, my experience was that of a mixed feeling, because it was exciting and also challenging. It's actually threw at me the opportunity to slow down and take stock of what is most important, and that is my family.
Okay.
You know, because I had time to spend with my children, although the lockdown started at about when schools were closing and the children had to come home, you know, but it was different because being a mother is quite demanding, and you have to juggle all the numerous roles you play within the home and outside the home. And so even if they were coming for a holiday, I would have to still go out and work and be busy. Most times I travel, their father traveled too. And so by this time I had time to stay with them and spend quality time with them. And it also gave me the opportunity to rest as a mom. You know, yes, I had to rest and focus on the home front. And one of the advantage of the lockdown was also the fact that I had to attend to pending issues like reading and writing. That was it. But it came with its challenges too. Because as a mom to teenagers and then young adults, I had to manage their emotional roller coaster. Help them manage their feelings, because these young people are, you know, they are trying to catch up with their social life. You can't keep them. The teenagers,
Exactly.
before the lockdown, my children had to go to music school. They had to go to choir to sing. Sometimes they would, you know, want to go visit their friends because they were having birthdays or whatever event. But here they were confined, and
one
they,
space.
yes, and they get easily bored.
Of course.
Yes.
So
I had
what did you do during this period? As much as we know teenagers get, but we've all passed through that phase.
Yes.
They get easily bored. So what did you do as a mother to ensure that you engage them at that point, so they don't start to become, you know, a problem to you even as a parent?
Yes, I had to help them focus on activities that will build them. Now, you know that they couldn't go out, right? So what they had was the internet. So I had to help them focus on educational videos. If they're going to YouTube, it had to be educational. And also I made them, you know, learn new skills. I made them learn a lot of digital skills. My son had to learn video editing, and he started doing well and helped us a lot throughout the COVID season. And then my daughter, I had her learning copywriting, you know, and all of them.
I like that you went for something unique.
Something,
You know, not
something
the-
that has
you
to do
know,
with the time.
Exactly.
Yes,
Something
yes,
digital.
I had to do that. So they learned all of that, and you know, just keep them focused on activities. And they helped me with the home front too, structuring and establishing routines in the home and how a home should run. And I also use the opportunity to, you know, improve their cooking skills. Yeah, because I have
Very important.
Yeah,
I have 3 daughters,
Okay.
and so I help them do that. And basically,
So when you talk about cooking skills, did you also teach the guy? Did you also upgrade his skill, or you just focus on the ladies alone?
no, yes, I allowed him cook because he would want to cook. He's the last, so
Oh.
he would want to cook, and I allowed him make some things in the kitchen too, so he
Like
can.
boiling of hot water.
And Indomie.
I didn't do it. I just knew it.
All right. So
And Indomie.
before, while I was introducing it, I mentioned that you're a mother, a wife, an educator, entrepreneur. You own a school. So how, you know, before the lockdown, how did you merge all these things while still managing your home? And even now that the lockdown has been, you know, that been eased off,
Yes.
work has resumed. I'm sure you're back to church work,
yes.
school work, and everything. How are you merging this together with your home front? I mean, it must have not been easy. You know,
Yes.
Simeon cannot relate. So
Yes.
I can actually. I can.
It takes a lot to juggle all of these roles. And over the years, I have learned to take it one step at a time, and you know, kind of schedule my work, and give each role its place. I'm not saying that it hasn't been perfect. It hasn't been, you know, what exactly the way it should be. But I've been able to manage that over the years I've developed in as a mom, and also in other aspects of my life. So that has helped me to, you know, manage my time and focus on what is important, what are the priorities. Like the school is not even here. So it's outside this, the FCT, and that makes it a lot more difficult for me. But I have people there running the school, so I increase my delegating roles and my supervisory roles. I mean, skills.
So, based on all you said, how best can you advise other mothers, you know, to manage the home during this particular period, considering how you've tried your best to manage your own home front?
Yes, you know that, like you rightly said, the lockdown has eased, and what mothers are facing right now is the fact that they have to balance work and caregiving. You know, especially mothers with young children. You know, they have to go to work, and during the lockdown, they sent their nannies away. Most nannies were asked to leave. You know, so they have to balance work and caregiving. So the first thing I want to say to mothers is this: that you should take care of yourself first. You can't serve from a place of weakness and weariness. You have to serve from a place of strength, you know, and so you should take care of yourself first so you'll be able to give to your family, to the children. So have enough sleep, eat well, exercise, and make sure that you are at peace. Because one of the difficulties of this season is mental health, the stress, the anxiety, the fear, you know, and of course we know that another thing that COVID-19 did was to impact negatively on economic activities. There are no businesses are not running, even though the lockdown has been eased. Businesses are not fully running, so it has depleted family income. You know, so I want to say to mothers also to manage their finances, and they should also know that every season comes also with opportunities. There are also prevailing opportunities right now, so they should look closely at the opportunities that are available right now and try to solve a problem or meet a need where they can augment their family finances, because I know that's one of the major challenge right now. Income has been depleted, and children, though they are at home, we anticipate that very soon the federal government would, you know, open schools, and then we have to pay fees.
All right. Well, before they open the schools now, the young children at home, especially the teenagers or the young adults, what would be your advice to them on making life easier for their parents?
Yes, they should support their parents, you know, and they should understand, you know, how the world is evolving. When your parents speak to you or talk to you, listen, because that's one of the major challenge. You know, the listen. As teenagers, they think they know more than their parents and all of that. So listen to them and support them in every way you can if you are a teenager or a young adult. And then just listen to your parents, because I know your parents will give you the best counsel and the best advice.
All right. Thank you very much.
Really amazing.
Reverend Frank.
Now I feel
really
like a
amazing.
parent already.
We'll get there.
Cynthia.
All right, thank you very much, Ma, for coming and
Thank
you know
you.
spending a lot of time with us. It's been really enlightening, and I really do hope that a lot of mothers and young children too would, you know, listen to the advice that you have given out. All right, so we've been speaking to a mother, a wife, an educator, and an entrepreneur, Reverend Mrs. Franca Atokolo. All right.
Don't worry, we're going to be right this time. Anyway, stick around. Good Morning Abuja continues. Tokolo, she's a mother and a wife. Amazing talk we had there. And she talked about how mothers can actually manage the home as well as children during this COVID-19 period. And still talking about children, we have an amazing photographer right here in the studio. Let me tell you, she's a lady. Yes.
Obviously.
Who is into photography, and she is into portraits and baby photography. We'll be talking to her right about now. We have Amon Omasom. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you.
I love your name.
Thank
really
you.
nice.
Simeon, slow down. All right, now
Really?
let's talk about baby photography. I mean, it's not something that we see every time, like people just focusing on baby photography. So what has that journey been for you? How did you get there?
How do you even get into photography in the first place?
Okay. Growing up for me, I grew up as the only girl in my house. I had plenty brothers and all. So
Wow.
more like I grew up a tomboy.
Okay.
And always dared to do what the men did or what the boys did. You know, I didn't play with Barbies and all of that. I played more with things that guys play with, riding bicycles and all of that. So I always dared to do something different. So I chose photography.
Wow.
Okay.
So when did photography start for you? At what age or at what point did you start photography professionally?
Professionally, I started photography at about when I was 18. Yeah. So first, I didn't start as a pick the camera and I started, you know, I had to intern, I had to take a course. I took several courses actually.
Okay.
And then interned again, managed the studio, and then I started off on my own.
So how difficult is it to photograph a baby? I mean, for adults, it's even stressful when you
can-
have to tell them,
you
stay
can
like
tell
this,
baby
stay like that.
you're an adult.
I
stay
think
like this.
photographing
baby-
a baby or a child is easier than photographing an
Really?
adult.
Wow. How is that? You don't talk to them. You just
You know, photography, but for babies these days has been redefined. Now, when I mean redefined, is most of the times it is best to take them when they are sleeping.
No.
All you need to do is fold them into the positions you
Yeah.
exactly want them to be in.
What if the baby
Who
refuses
is
to sleep?
awake? Refuses to sleep. How
Most
do
of the
you-
time, well, it depends on how old the child is per time. You know, if you're doing 0 to 1 month, like from birth to 1 month, most of the time you photograph them when they are asleep.
Okay.
Okay.
You know, I mean, that time, that's the only thing they know how to do, sleep.
Okay, so now for the ones that, from
Have started growing.
one to
Started growing,
three,
uh-huh.
how'd you get them
Age 1 to
comfortable?
3. Age 1 to 3,
Yeah.
you sing a lot. Have you heard of this Shaq to do song?
Shaq, you
Baby,
do.
yeah. I can't count the number of times I've had to sing that or play it, you know. So sometimes you get the attraction, you get them to be stable, you know, when you have a lot of these cartoon tunes playing and then they are happy. And every moment counts. So it is not particularly when you have to tell them to pose. Whatever it is they are doing, sometimes that's the memory you can get.
Okay.
And then, you know, like I said, it's evolving. Back in the days, I'm not sure a mother would bake a whole cake just for you to smash. These days, you know, we bake, mothers bake cake, and then the whole idea is for the child to sit on the floor and smash the cake, rub the cake all over his
Yeah.
body, and that's the idea of the photo shoot.
Okay, so we've seen amazing pictures of your works, So how do you come about the concept? Is it what the parents tell you they want, or you just sleep over it and you get ideas?
As
And
a
shoots.
photographer, you're a creative. So first off, you have to be able to come up with things that, you know, would make the picture come out properly well. So you create that set, you create the stage. And sometimes these parents already have
An idea of
An
what
an
you
idea of
want.
what they want. You know, most of the times these kids are so drawn to a particular kind of cartoon. So they'll pick that theme.
Okay.
And you know, maybe like a girl now that is drawn to Frozen or Frozen cartoon, you know, that's what the mother would want, or that's what the parents would want, or Cinderella, or for a guy Spider-Man, and then you know they begin to order all of those props that would make it look like okay, yeah. And sometimes they want to represent culture. So you see a 1-year-old dressed in full Fulani or Yoruba or Igbo attire, and then that's the theme of the
Beautiful.
shoot. So.
Still talking about the creative process of making or creating these images, we've seen pictures where we see babies being wrapped like they are being bound, hands and legs. When I see such pictures, I cringe. Like,
Why are you cringing? It's cute.
no, sometimes it seems so intense for the baby who is so young.
But the
Sometimes
baby
these
is still
babies are
very
just.
flexible at that point, right?
You see them wrap the baby up and tie their hands and legs. And
It's not
I'm
tying,
like,
Simeon.
how will they breathe?
It's
Now-
wrapping.
Like, it's tying for me.
Let me answer him. You know, when you were growing up back in the days, now that, like I said, things are evolving, and sometimes I don't even know I don't know how to place the way things are evolving, whether it's good or bad now. But where I'm going to is the fact that, you know, when you were a child, I'm sure your grandmother came to do amugo, and then when she was beating you, she would throw you up, stretch your muscles, and all of that thing. So that's the stage where you can actually fold the child in, and those clothes you see. They are very soft clothes, and all you need to do is just put the child in a comfortable position, and
Sometimes
there
it's
we
not
go.
comfortable.
No, that it is actually
the
very.
baby, like-
You know what? You put them on falls and stuff like that, and it is beautiful. So it's no stress at all. And sometimes the mother is standby, and there's breast to the child's mouth. So when you're folding and wrapping,
Why don't you see that part in the photo?
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
anyway, that's me just asking.
Now let's talk about photography generally. Now we have a lot of smartphones that can be used to take pictures. Is this in any way affecting the photography business? Because there's a lot of smartphones out there
And
that can
apps.
take amazing pictures. You know, all you do is just print it out.
you know, to answer you, you're recording right now, right? You know, and you're not recording with a phone.
Of course.
Okay, so you cannot take away the place of a professional camera
Okay.
at all. No smartphone. It's not like they do the job sometimes, but in the professional sense of it, you
Okay,
can't take
can't
away
use
the
the
place
phone.
of. You
Okay,
can't.
so tell us, what's the difference between, because I know aside baby photography, you do portrait too. So what's the
I do
difference between,
corporate as well.
doing corporate photography and those portraits and photographing babies?
Yeah, like I said, babies are a lot easier. For me, babies is something I've always wanted to do. But it's just that right now, because of our time and season, you know, this whole year has been a COVID-19 year. So most of the time, it's difficult to want to touch babies like that. You know, I personally do not touch. I have not had to wrap any baby myself during this period. I let the mothers wrap the babies themselves. I do the picture taking
Okay.
because of the situations we have found ourselves. Yeah, for babies it is a lot easier and a lot softer to handle, but for adults, we ladies, quote and unquote,
Like
the men,
Cynthia, she
the
wanna
men
go
don't
out.
have problem. Actually, I like to say that the men don't have a problem.
Exactly.
But ladies, there's pimple on my face. There is this. I don't like the way I'm looking. I'm not God. I didn't create you. I would only do my best. So people are, in encouraging, especially now that this is an opportunity for me to talk about this. You need to begin to love yourself as a young lady. You need to accept who you are. You're big. You're big. Love it. Accept it. It's one of the things. There's this particular housemate in Big Brother house right now that I love so much because she has accepted who she is. She's living with it. She's not trying to deny it in any form. So people should begin to love themselves the way you have been created. If you don't like a particular shape, how you look. I mean, if you can exercise to solve it, fine. If you can't, love yourself.
So for other young people who want to go into photography, what is your advice to them?
Now, I would advise a lot of young people to, not just photography really. Photography, maybe somebody hasn't mentioned to you that photography is wild. There are different branches to photography. You can be a retoucher, sit down on your computer and touch images. You can be the one that takes the picture, more like what I do. You can be a producer. I mean, you can be the one that does the photo album and everything. Photography is wild. And so, yeah, I encourage a lot of young people to pick up one skill or the other, especially with this, because this is the next big thing.
Photography.
Wow, because
Not just photography, anything digital right now is the
Yes.
next big thing,
and everybody's keen into it. At this
Now,
moment.
it's been a period of lockdown. A lot of university students have been at home. A lot of secondary school students have been at home. The question is, what have you done with yourself?
Okay.
How have you improved? How have you found a way outside book knowledge? What have you used? Like, I was reading a book the other day and it says, whatever you do, have education, but have a skill at your back pocket. It is very important for every young person to have a skill.
All right. So before we let you go, you're just going to answer yes or no. How lucrative is baby photography? No, rather, is baby photography very lucrative? Yes or no?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Thank you very much.
I'm tempted to ask one question, but I'll just let it pass.
Okay. You ask her.
Should I?
Go
Have
ahead.
you
I'll
had
answer.
any experience where after snapping the babies, especially with those mothers that, please snap, let me go, and at the end of the day, you open your system, you can't find the photo?
I've had that experience, but not with a baby before.
Oh, okay. So how did you overcome that?
Well, like I
You
said,
had to
there's
beg
this-
and reshoot.
No. There is, the world has gone digital. There's something called recovery software now.
Okay.
So you go to recovery software, you pay a lot of money. To recover those images, you can be paid as high as 40, 50,000.
Wow.
To recover the images. Maybe sometimes what the client is paying you is not even up to that, but then you go that. I personally would go that length
Wow, okay.
to
Just
retain
do
my
that.
name. A good name is better than silver and gold. So
Of course.
I would go that length to recover the image. And
Really amazing. Anyway, thank you so much for coming. We've been talking to Amon Omasom. She's a photographer. And if you have a baby that you want her to do something, you can actually reach out to her, right?
thank you.
I'm having a baby soon, so get set.
I look
Speaking
forward
it
to
is
take-
fate.
I'll speak it on stage.
I look forward to photographing you and your baby.
No, my
Okay.
baby alone. I'm not photogenic. Thank you.
No. We have to do. I take good images of father and children, father and babies together. So I make boosts in that. I can find that. So
All right. Thank you for coming on the program.
thank you for having me.
All right.
Okay, what a great day on Good Morning Abuja. In fact, we had an amazing time. And I must say special thank you to all our guests, especially Rani Ohomina, who came to tell us about something different, something I have never seen before. And I would love to see that, at any event I get to attend this year. And that's the fruit art. And also special thank you to our guest, who was always a mother, an entrepreneur, and also a pastor, Mrs. Franca, who came to talk about home management during this particular period. And also to our lady photographer, who came to talk about baby photography. I'm waiting for Cynthia, though.
You will wait. All right, it's been an amazing time on the program. My name is Cynthia Benyago, and he is Simeon Sunday with the security details.
Wow. Anyway, always stay safe out there. COVID-19 is real and it's still very here with us. Always wash your hands with soap and running water. Don't forget to use your alcohol-based hand sanitizer and also use your face mask. Please, as you commute to your place of work, please drive safely, whatever means of transportation you're using. Please stay safe because life is very important.
All I need to do is to